Yo, what's up guys? It's your boy Ethan. Hope you're having a great day. Rocking a new look today. Got the glasses going. First time wearing these, just a little too lazy. Didn't want to wear contacts today, but just got here, and of course we're back at Ocean's 11. There was no way after yesterday's session, last video session, no way we're not gonna come back here and check out the action on a nice Saturday. I think this is more impressive than the last session we had. Driving here, I experienced my very first California rainfall. I've been here for almost 2 weeks and just witnessed it raining, and I think we have a really cool like little sunset cloud action, if you could see it. Looks really dope. Anyways, we're gonna get into the list. We're probably gonna be a pretty long list, but we're gonna play pretty much anything that's available. Hop into the 2-3 at first probably if the list is pretty long for 2-5, 5-5. If there's a 5-10, you know, we're here for it. Anyways, wish us some luck. Let's get rolling into the action. Let's go. Back at Ocean's 11, hopping into the 2-5. First hand here, ace-8 of spades and +1, playing 8-handed. I decided to open limp here as this is the second hand dealt in, and it's a playable hand, but we don't really want to raise just yet. Anyways, it becomes a 6-way limped pot, multi-way. Are you surprised? Flop comes 5, 6, 7, 2 spades. That is probably a top 10% flop for ace-8 of spades. So, with that said, when it checks to me, I'm just going to overbet the pot now. I bet $40, hoping to just get some money in here, huh? The hijack and cutoff make the call. Hijack has about $700 in the stack, and the cutoff with 245-ish. So we definitely have intentions of getting all of the money in here just because it's a monster flop. The turn comes the king of hearts, so total brick here, but I'd assume that their ranges shouldn't hit the king too much, and like I said, still with plenty of equity, I decided to size up to $200. Both players tank, and they both make the fold, so first hand in, we're going to take this one down. Really weird line by us, but here we are. Hand numero dos, queen jack of hearts in the cutoff, and there's a limper to me. I decided to raise things up to $25, and 25, a little too small. We get the small blind, the big blind, and the limper to call. 4 ways to a flop, which comes jack 8-5 rainbow. Action checks to me, and with top pair, a pretty good flop. Let's definitely put in the C bets. Size up a little bit larger here to a sizing of $70. This $70 sizing is not big enough to eliminate the field too much. The small blind and big blind both make the call. We're off to a turn, which comes the 9 of hearts. Super connected board, and I think if action checks to me, I'm thinking I'm probably going to have to check back on this board for some pot control, considering we only have one pair, plenty of equity, we don't want to get blown off it. It doesn't come to that, as the big blind leads out for $80. I'm obviously never folding here, pretty small bet as well, so when we toss in chips for a call of 80, the small blind makes the call as well, which is going to be pretty interesting. We'll see. 3 ways to the turn, not expecting my hand to be good just yet. Let's try to improve. The river comes the ace of hearts. Beautiful stuff, man. It's exactly what we wanted to see. Even better, the big blind throws out a bet of $175. He's got about $200 behind. Onto me now, sitting with the second nuts. Looking at the small blind stack, he's got about 700 in there, and yeah, I'm really trying to get money in here now. I don't think we can commit the small blind to get his whole stack in there, but I think we can at least get the big blind in there as well, so I decided to rip it all in there for about $650 total. Small blind folds pretty easily. The big blind decides to make the call, show our hand, and second hand in, we win a pretty big one. Next up, King 10 offsuit in the small blind. There's an open to $15 from +1. The button makes the call. Here in the small blind, certainly can fold, but 15 is pretty small as it's only 3 bigs. I decided to call, and the big blind does as well. So we're going multi-way to a flop, which comes 10, 7, 7, 2 diamonds. Here with top pair, pretty good flop for us. Unfortunately, action's going to be checking all the way around, so we're going to see a turn. The turn comes another 7, so pretty much nutted here, unless we're behind quads, which is pretty unlikely, given the fact that it checked around. So I throw out a bet of $30, probably going to get called by 10x's and chop it up. With this $30 bet, the big blind and button both call. Still out of position, off to a river. The river comes the 8 of diamonds. Pretty interesting board here, considering there is a straight flush available, but maybe someone does have a flush of some sort and could call a bet. Anyways, still thinking we're probably chopping this a lot of the time. I bet $100. The big blind makes the call, and now the button thinks for a while and announces that he doesn't have a 7. He's tanking things over. At the end of the day, tosses in a call. I show my hand expecting to chop this 3 ways, but the big blind shows 10-8 of spades. The button shows pocket jacks. What the hell is that? Never expected pocket jacks or an overpair to be in here, but here we are. Good to know he is a little passive. Next spot, ace-queen offsuit in the big blind. We get a button open to $20 and onto me. Button can open a pretty wide range. Sitting with the premium and out of position, let's size up a little bit to our 3-bet to $80. And pretty much he snap calls our 80. Interesting development here. We'll see a good flop, hopefully. The flop comes ace, 7, 8, 2 spades. Sitting with top pair, good kicker, definitely going to be sizing up, and I decided to size to $120. He immediately goes, reaches for his chips, grabs a few $100 chips, plays around with them, then looks at his stack and announces he's all in for $600 total. Well, it's a massive jam, but sitting with a good hand, pretty easy decision here that we're just gonna have to go with it. If he has a set and then we're beat, so be it. I make the call, and we're off to a runout. The turn comes a 3, the river a 10, and he shows us ace-queen of diamonds. Chop, chop. We are going to be splitting the pot here. Definitely had the better version of ace-queen, but yeah, I guess we lose some money to rake. Next spot, picking up 8-9 of clubs under the gun. We're playing 6-handed, which will warrant us opening up this beautiful suited connector. So I size and open up to $20, and we get some callers, the button and the big blind. So not a ridiculous 4-5 way to the flop, this time only 3. The flop comes jack 10-3 rainbow with 1 club. Action checks to me, definitely putting in the C-bet, open-ended, backdoor flush draw. We bet $25, and only the big blind makes the call. Off to a turn, which comes the 10 of hearts. Not really the best card for us, but when he checks to us, definitely no need to size up and double barrel here. So we just decided to check and hopefully improve on the river. The river's a deuce. Once again, he checks, and I haven't really bluffed at all today at this table so far. This seems like a decent spot to do it since we're clearly not going to win with 9 high. I throw out $65 as a bet, and good for us, he folds. So taking this one down, first bluff of the day, we'll let it go through. This next hand is pretty interesting. So, pocket 8s under the gun, still playing 6-handed here. I open up the action to $20, and we get a player in +1 to 3-bet us to 60. The button really quickly calls, and now onto me. +1 should have a pretty narrow 3-betting range for sure. The button cold calling is very interesting as well, but with pocket 8s, we have a hand. Let's just flat here out of position and see a flop. The flop comes 10, 6, 4, 2 hearts, and a club. I check, +1 checks, and the button checks as well. So pretty good flop, all things considered. I'm not really expecting too many overpairs to be checking on this board, but we're going to a turn hoping to see something low. The turn comes the 9 of clubs. This is a pretty weird spot because they both seem to not have connected with this board too much. And here, sitting with a pair and a gut shot, we can bet to protect our pair so far. This board is extremely draw heavy, so I decided to size to $65 for value, a little bit closer to 1/3 pot here, just to protect my hand. And surprisingly, both players call, so we're going to see a river. I think we got to fade a few things, but I'm not sure which one to fade. The river comes the 8 of diamonds. This got really interesting. I'm not sure what to make of this hand. I feel pretty confident that I'm ahead here, but there aren't any 7s in their range. And how strong are their holdings when they check the flop here? Like I said, not afraid of a 7 or a straight. Can I check here to induce a bluff, or do I just go for value, not wanting this to check through? Anyways, I decided to just hope someone has 10x and would make a crying call. I decide on a very small bet of $135, and both players snap fold. Button shows ace king of clubs. Not sure if he would have bluffed at it if check to, but we're taking this one down. Next spot, also a little dicey and interesting. This time we pick up ace-jack of clubs in the hijack. The player to my right limps. He's a pretty new player. He's sitting about $400 deep, and actions onto me. I definitely size up here and raise to $30. The small blind, who's also about $400 deep, makes the call, and the limper calls. So we're playing pretty short stacked effectively to a flop. Flop comes jack, jack, 4. Perfect, beautiful. Action checks to me, sitting with trips and top kicker. I bet a very insulting amount of $20. Since they're so short, let's just try to build a pot immediately, knowing that they're both prone to be calling fairly light. The small one makes the call, who's known to be pretty good for action, and the other player folds. We're off to a turn, which comes the king of hearts, brings in a backdoor flush draw. Now he does something very strange and leads out for $55. He's got about $300 behind, and sitting with this action in front of me, I don't think we're going to be calling to give him a really great price to draw of some sorts. I decided to try to get more money in the middle. Hopefully we can commit his stack here on this turn. So I raised to $200, expecting him to call with a lot of his draws, a lot of king X's, but unfortunately, after thinking things over, he makes the fold. Really not sure what he's holding, to be honest. Not sure what this bet leading out here on the turn means, but we got chips coming our way. This next hand, on the button, there's an on-the-on straddle out there, so playing at 2-5-10. We look down at ace-queen of spades, playing 7-handed. There are 2 limpers to me, and with this straddle out there, I size up to a raise of $65. The on-the-on straddler makes the call for 65. Now the player who limped in +1 decides to do a funny thing. He limp raises to $400 and action folds to me. This player, this limper, has about $930 in his stack. The on-the-gun player who called my $65 bet has $400. Sitting with pretty much a premium hand enough. I'd probably call this on the lower end of premium hands, but still definitely good enough. The fact that there's a straddle out there means that we're playing probably 90 bigs deep as opposed to 180. So I don't know. I think calling to see a flop is a terrible option, although we are in position. Still not great, as this player only has about $500 behind. Folding is certainly fine, I think, but we have a strong hand, and we've been running pretty well so far. After thinking things over, we love high variance. So does the vlog. So do you guys. We ended up deciding on a jam. The on-the-gun player obviously folds, and the limper obviously makes the call. We're off to an $1,800, $1,900 pot, all in pre with something what we'd call pretty marginal. Let's go to a run out. The turn ace is pretty good for us, I think. We've got to fade a diamond on the river, and we do. He doesn't really want to show, but we are first to act. We show our ace queen, and he mucks. He's definitely not happy about the situation, and did I really want to flip for $900 pre? I guess we did, and lucky for us, positive variance coming our way. After that donkey-like hand, we pick up a real one. Pocket aces in the small blind, playing 6-handed. There are 3 limpers to me on a very limp-happy table, of course, where I think we're going to be raising this one, probably not folding. I raise the $40, and we get action. Big blind makes the call, and 2 of the limpers make the call. 4 ways out of position to a flop, which comes 9-7-7 to clubs. Good enough flop for us. I mean, you're never really too comfortable when you take aces 4 ways, but on this one, we're going to go for it. I lead out for $85. The big blind tanks for quite some time. We've been battling out the past few days, and he's a reg here at this casino. He tanks and makes the call. The limpers fold, and we're off to a turn. The turn comes the 6 of spades. This certainly isn't the most ideal card in the world. Really, the only hand that gets there would be 10-8. But anyways, sitting without the ace of clubs, I'm going to play this a little bit differently and pot control and check. Considering we've played against this player a good amount, let's take aces here on a different line. Now onto him. He throws out a bet of $250. And with this bet, I really don't think folding is in question here, although I certainly thought about just hero folding this right now. He simply doesn't really bluff too often, and I think the real debate at least is between calling or jamming, because he doesn't have too much behind. He's only got 400 behind, and do we think we can get value from overpairs or 9x holdings? For sure, given our image and given what he thinks of us, we can certainly get value from it, but I also feel like we definitely would value ourselves against a 7 as we'd be drawing nearly dead. At the end of the day, after thinking things over, I decided to just make the call and evaluate the river, and probably have to find a fold if we see a pretty bad river for us and he ends up jamming. Anyways, the river comes the jack of clubs, really not a great river for us. I check, and he snap checks it back. So probably good here. I show my hand, and it takes him a while to act and fold his cards, but he eventually does muck them, and here we are, taking this one down with aces. This next hand is also pretty interesting. Not as good as aces, but kings will do. We are on under the gun, and we are straddling. There are 2 limpers to the player to my right on the big blind who opens it up to $60. He's a player that I'm pretty familiar with, very solid. And here, the limpers are actually very good for action, and they're big stacked. So I don't think I want to 3-bet this and want to play this a little bit trickier and trap the other action players in. So with that said, I flat the $60. The cutoff makes the call. Small blind makes the call. We're going 4 ways to a flop. The flop is probably above average, which comes king, king, 8, rainbow. How the hell do we flop quads in this situation? Very disguised quads here. When action checks to me, we're checking. Action checks around. Let's see a turn. The turn comes the deuce of clubs, brings in a backdoor flush draw, and once again, action checks to me. I don't know how to play quads, guys. If anyone has a clue, please let me know, but I feel like I have to do something here, right? There's 2 players who are good for action. Maybe they turn a club draw. Maybe they have an 8. I have no idea, but I size very small to $85. Unfortunately, everyone folds, and that's just funny for the vlog. I really can't show this face up given how I played it, but damn. Shout out to Craig for dealing me quads here. That was just a ridiculous flop for us. Alrighty, last hand of the session, ace-3 of hearts. We're in +1, there's an on-the-gun straddle, and we're playing 6-handed. I open up the action to $40, and we get the big blind and on-the-gun player to call. So we find ourselves in a position where we are in position. Flop comes 10-6-3 rainbow, and action checks to me. Sitting with a pair. I think this is fine. I could probably check this, but given how wide the big blind and probably under the gun range could be at this point, I decided to throw out a bet of $55 here, and not good for us because both players are going to call. We're just going to have to shut down on later streets here, and we're off to a turn. Turn comes an 8. When action checks to me, like I said, we're unimproved, board a lot more connected now. Certainly not going to do anything but check it back. We see a river which comes the king of diamonds. And once again, players check to us. So pretty perfect spot to turn my hand into a bluff, as we do have all of the king X's in our range as opposed to them. And considering how they just checked it back all 3 times, seems like they're capped at 1 pair. So with that said, I decided to size to $220, seeing a pretty good opportunity to bluff at it. The big blind folds pretty quickly. The under the gun player tanks for quite some time, and fortunately for us, he ends up making the fold as well. So finally getting another bluff through. Nice to take this one down and chip up. We're out. Quite the chilly night here in San Diego. Past midnight now, and we played for a little under 8 hours. Played for quite a while. The game got really good around the 4 to 5 hour mark, which is actually when I usually leave. But when the game's good and you're here pretty much on a poker vacation trip, you gotta play. So with that said, another really great day. We were in for this amount, out for this amount in less than just under 8 hours played. So hopefully
you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you're still here. This trip to California, especially San Diego, has been going pretty well for us. So just overall really happy with this place. I love Ocean's 11. This just might be my favorite casino out here on the West Coast. The run good's alive, and we've been doing pretty well just the past 2 days, and the lighting is horrible. Can we get this to look any better? All right, that's better. Anyways, with that said, I'm gonna peace out, and you'll see more videos from me here. I'll probably be playing here for the next day or two at least, but with that said, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.